With America's Mayor Live, and behind me is the Atlantic Ocean. That's the ways you see the Atlantic Ocean, the mid-Atlantic Ocean, not quite the southern Atlantic Ocean. Right before, well, you can figure it out, right before Miami. So when I was young, I used to patrol those places looking for Haitians that were coming in by the hundreds and 50s and 200s and 300s, and every once in a while, might have been here, it might have been someplace else. You'd see bodies, 100 bodies, 50 bodies, 150 bodies. These were Haitians who had paid a couple $100 to disreputable ship captains who would tell them that if you came to Miami, you got a job, you got a home, you got this and you got that, and you got something else. And of course, nobody cared, and the left wing went to court to try to continue to let them come in because they didn't really give a damn how many died as long as they made their point that America shouldn't have borders. Well, my goodness, that was 30 years ago. So these communists have been trying to do this for a long, long time. And I've been fighting them for a long, long time. I mean, this is also the shore along which the Mario boat lift took place, where Fidel Castro did what probably now about 8 to 10 tyrants are doing. When Jimmy Carter, whose greatest thing that ever happened to him is Dodo Bird becoming president. When Jimmy Carter started criticizing Castro, Carter said, "I'll take anyone from Cuba." Castro said, "You want anyone from Cuba, jerk? Okay, I'll give you anyone from Cuba. Here go all my prisons." And here are 100,000 good people, like people that have families there, really wonderful people that are salt of the earth, and some of the best immigrants we ever got came from Cuba. And then when he decided he had emptied out the prisons, he said, "Yeah, well, now let me really stick it up that moron's you know what." And he emptied out his insane asylums. And we had people in prison. I can't tell you what they were doing to each other. You had to separate the aggressive from the non-aggressive homosexuals, because the aggressive homosexuals, anywhere near the submissive homosexuals, wouldn't just rape them, they'd kill them, which is what they do in prisons in Cuba. Well, I mean, for a while, Castro used to kill homosexuals and then people with AIDS. Oh, but Hollywood loved them. Hollywood just loved him. They love Castro. I guess they love his son, too. We'll talk about his son later. But now you know what's going on here. I mean, luckily, we've got a governor who doesn't let it happen. If we're up to Biden, this place would be a disaster. It'd be like Texas. It'd be like Arizona. It'd be like California. I mean, Abbott has fought back. Actually, he's moved it over to Arizona. You know, where they're getting bombed with illegals, where they have Democrat governors, otherwise known as communist governors. That party has become a disaster. It's as anti-American as the Communist Party used to be. And I'm only just beginning. Well, today or yesterday or whatever, who knows when, Biden has halted arms to Israel. Arms to Israel? Why don't we just impeach him? What are we, crazy? He's not sending arms to our strongest, most important ally, and he's sending billions to Ukraine without an inspector general to look at the money. I don't know. Do you need it bammed into your skull that he's a crook? That Zelensky's a crook? Or that why wouldn't you have an inspector general if you weren't a crook? Are you that stupid you can't figure it out? 200 billion and Zelensky can't win? What do they need? 500 billion, 6, 7, 8? I don't know, Zelensky, how about $1 trillion? You and Biden can whack it up. How much longer? How much longer? I pray at night and I ask God that. How much longer are you going to put us through this with this tyrant? I don't know. They're complaining that Trump said that Biden's people look like stormtroopers or the Gestapo, or they do. You know how many people I arrested? I don't remember arresting too many with people with machine guns and army uniforms on. He does it for people who are protesting abortion. They go in with machine guns and things all over their face. And is there some kid or somebody that could look like a stormtrooper or a Gestapo? They act like that. I mean, who the hell searches lawyers' offices but Gestapo, stormtroopers, communists? What American president ever prosecuted a prior president? None. What American president ever prosecuted the guy running against him? None. What, you want me to compare you to Hitler? Okay. I'll compare you to Hitler in that respect. No, you didn't put 6 million Jews in an oven. You're not that many. I mean, you're cutting off arms to Israel. What do you think happens when you cut off arms to Israel? You'll get Jews killed. It'll be 6 million, Joe, but I mean, for an American president, you could be ahead for people getting killed in non-wartime. You may have killed more people than any American president in non-wartime. Oh, yeah, how? Well, Ukraine. Ukraine wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the fact that we had a cowardly little rat in the White House. Putin took a look at you and said, little piece of crap, step all over you. You couldn't take care of your people in Afghanistan. You got them killed. You came home. You made fun of them. You gave up. You gave up a critical air base right next to China, which I guess was a little piece of the 21 or 31 million you got from Z. Too bad we didn't give you more money. Maybe you'd give us part of America if we did that. I can't imagine what they must think of you. They must think, my God, what happened? How did we get this lucky to get this sniveling little coward as president? He won't do anything to defend America. Not a thing. And he won't send arms to Israel. Wow. That's not impeachable. And Russian collusion was. The Russian collusion Hillary paid for. Or asking the Ukrainians to take a look at the massive amount of corruption you and your son were involved in Ukraine, which never would have happened if Barr and everybody else didn't sit on the hard drive. It would have proven immediately that you were guilty, and Trump was being, once again, prosecuted, persecuted for something he didn't do, just like you're doing right now. Now, all of these things that went on in these universities, well, we know about Soros's money behind it. Soros links you all together. Soros linked you all together in 2020, right? Your biggest contributor, the Democratic Party's biggest contributor, the cop killing Black Lives Matter biggest contributor, biggest contributor to 50 to 60 DAs who have caused more murder in the United States than any group of criminals I can think of. I mean, they've got records that'll never be broken, I hope. Philadelphia, more murders than ever before in their history. Under Krasner, one of the first of your DAs. Look at what you've done to Los Angeles and San Francisco. You've ruined them. You certainly helped de Blasio and Adams return New York to where it was before I was mayor in Bloomberg. I mean, you're destroying American cities, but they all got one big stamp on it. You know what the stamp is? Democrat. That's where it happens, Joe. That's where all the people get killed, the Democrats. And you're getting them killed. Everybody in Ukraine be alive today if you hadn't cheated in 2020. They'll be alive. Every single one of them. Putin wouldn't have gone in. You know that. What? Hamas would not have attacked Israel. I think every Israeli would tell you that. You're the reason, because they know they know what side you're on. Biden, you don't end up giving billions to terrorists and not tell crooked, smart people who you are. You're a former co-conspirator who's walking free, having committed one of the most serious crimes an American president ever committed. Made it clear what side you're on when he started sending cash to the Ayatollah. Who, in their right mind, other than a person supporting terrorism, would send cash to the Ayatollah? And is there anybody in America that can face up to the fact that Obama gave money to a terrorist in cash, the way drug dealers and terrorists do, and that money was used to kill Americans? I was back in 2016 when they were still killing Americans. And money is fungible. I know you don't know what it means, but Obama does. Why isn't he in jail? Because he's the first black president. They wouldn't prosecute the first black mayor of New York who took $1 million bribe because they were afraid. You ever think that those kinds of decisions make all of you racist? And all they do is completely destroy any ability we have to move beyond racism. Well, I've never understood how Obama became editor of the Harvard Law Review, having never written a damn thing. Because I do remember being on the Law Review, you had to write notes and there were competitions and that sort of thing. I figure it's probably the same way you became president, some kind of fix, right? But the Columbia Law Review really should be eliminated from any possibility of being lawyers, because they don't want to take exams. They're too nervous. Everything that happened has made the poor little snowflakes very, very nervous. Maybe they picked the wrong profession. The practice of law can get nerve-wracking. And then sometimes if you're too nervous, you become a scoundrel and a rat. And you go after people like me when you're in the New York Bar Association or the DC Bar, because you're a scoundrel and a rat. Do you imagine this? The student editors of the Columbia Law Review want administrators to cancel the law school exams and pass all the students. After cops cleared out an anti-Israel encampment last week, claiming in a letter that the police action left the student body irrevocably shaken. They will never recover. Irrevocably means never. Harvard Law Review or Columbia Law Review assholes. It means forever, which means you're spoiled goods, pal. You're irrevocably shaken. I'm going to hire you. I'm going to hire some irrevocably shaken person to be an assistant U.S. attorney. Sorry, pal. I'm not going to hire you, snowflake. I don't think you'd be able to put Fat Tony in jail. I think if you looked at Fat Tony, you'd piss in your pants. Did you ever consider one of the problems is, and I think Miranda Devine, the great Miranda Devine, did a great job today. We may have forgotten how to bring up men. I think that. You think these? I mean, this is made up of men and women, right? You think if I were at Columbia and the Law Review and I was 23, 20, I'd be irrevocably shaken by these assholes? And do you think if I was irrevocably shaken by these assholes, I could have ever prosecuted the mafia or Nazi war criminals or been threatened with death by the FARC or with having my throat slit? Think I'd have caved after on September 11th, the way the mayor down in New Orleans caved and had to go for some kind of treatments for 4 days during Katrina? Or Biden, who takes 4 days to react to anything? Think I'd have been able to turn New York City around, reduce crime by more than any mayor in the history of the city if I was irrevocably shaken by what happened at Columbia? You think these guys have just proven they should find something else to do? I don't know. Maybe they should be social workers or something, but not with anything tough, like really easy social problems. I don't know. So let's take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to find out why the Queen of Jordan can't seem to get the king, her husband, to let any of her people into Jordan. Not a single one. Man, that must be a hell of a domestic problem.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Well, I was talking about the Queen of Jordan. This is Queen Rania Al Abdullah. She is very much in favor of all of the terrorist sympathizers who have been ruining American schools, ruining graduations, burning buildings, getting arrested, beating up on cops. What the hell else are they doing? Which would be probably something she was taught when she's very young, because she's Palestinian. She's half Palestinian. I don't know what the other half of her is. Here's the interesting part. So Biden wants to let the Palestinians in. You know that. He wants to not give arms to Israel and let the Palestinians in, the non-Hamas Palestinians. Now, let's start with the fact that her husband, the king of Jordan, won't let any Palestinians in Jordan. Must be a hell of a conversation at home. Gee, will you let my cousin and his 2 camels in? No. How about my uncle? My uncle, whatever the hell their names are, Rufa or Poofer or Puff Puff. My uncle Puff Puff. Will you let my uncle Puff Puff in? He only has 3 camels. There won't be many. No. Will you let my 95-year-old grandmother in? She's Palestinian, king. No. Any Palestinians? How about me? Well, you're just here because you're half Palestinian, and unfortunately, I'm married to you. And we watch you all the time just to make sure you don't do what you were taught when you were 2 and 3, which is to kill me. And Dodo Bird in the White House, who's supposed to be protecting us, wants to let him into the United States. And the king of Jordan won't let his wife's countrymen into Jordan because they're so damn dangerous. Not Hamas, Palestinians. Cut the Palestinian crap. Cut it. I've been hearing it since 1990. It's been crap since 1990. It's why I threw Arafat out of the UN. You have to assume they're murderers because they were taught from the day they were born to murder. You, if you're American or Jewish or Christian, or they don't like you. Do some of them overcome it? Yeah. But somebody else can take a gamble on that one. Okay. It looks to me like there's been a lot of road work done on that face. Move it around here, move it around there. I think the nose used to be on the other side at one time. What a bunch of garbage. She's supporting. Where the hell does she come off supporting people that are doing damage in our country? Who the hell is she to support people doing damage in our country? Who the hell is she to support people that are getting arrested in our country? Hey, King, tell her to shut up. She's just a... Shut up. Queen, my backside. Put her on a camel and send her back to Gaza. Yeah, put her on a camel. Now, what about Manoush Shafiq? We're having trouble figuring out whether to fire Manoush Shafiq. We just had Colombia. By the way, though, you look at those riots, January 6th ain't nothing compared to those riots. That's right. That's right. A lot more damage. But in any event, Manoush Shafiq, who had problems before this happened. Remember, she was before Congress and made a total yo-yo out of herself. Manoush Shafiq should be fired because I don't like her. And I don't like her because she liked the 9/11 terrorists who came here and killed our people. And anybody who likes them, I don't like. Nor do I think they should have the slightest thing to do with the education of anybody in the United States. In fact, I don't know if she's a citizen. If she is, we can't. If she isn't, we should throw her the hell out. So let's listen to Manoush Shafiq in her pain for the 19 people who went into the buildings. Oh, poor things. Let's listen to Manoush Shafiq, who should have been gone as head of Colombia quite some time ago. But wait until you see the millionaires who are putting money into Colombia, including Goldman Sachs.
Who will have extreme views. But what's really troubling in the region is that there's actually quite a broad base of society which has some sympathy for the terrorists, not so much because they approve of their methods, but it's a form of protesting against a system which is not delivering for them on the economic or the political front.
Well, that's quite some time ago. In between, you got a lot of numerous similar problems. This woman is a terrorist sympathizer. There's no doubt about it. She's allowed Colombia to be an institution that is well known worldwide for hating Jewish people. Before this all broke out, the weekend before, we went to Harvard, just Ted and I, just to do a check. Who hates Jews more, Harvard or Columbia? And the people at Harvard made a very compelling case that Columbia is way ahead of them under Manoush Shafiq, who is enormously sympathetic with the September 11 terrorists who killed innocent Americans. And she is in charge of Colombia. No wonder it is a hotbed of anti-American hatred. We have a president who is anti-American. We have a president who is pro-terrorist of Colombia. No wonder it is the center of Jewish hatred in America. There are some as bad, none worse. They're giving them a real run out in the West Coast with the USC and UCLA, and University of Wisconsin ain't doing bad either. But boy, you want Jew hatred, you get it at Columbia big time. She reminds me of the princeling I gave the $10 million back. Are we crazy? Having our kids educate and putting American dollars into that stupid university? Now, today, there was an excellent article by Carol Markowitz, basically showing that the brainwashing begins at a very, very early age. I mean, we think of it as happening in colleges and universities, and it does. We know it happens in K through 12, and it does. But I mean, it's happening now in pre whatever you call it, Hitler education. The reason I call it Hitler education is at some point when I was mayor and they were pushing so hard for all this pre-K money, I started to realize it was a damn communists in the United Federation of Teachers that wanted the money, not so they could educate the kids, so they could take money. That was my first thought. Then I started looking at some of the curriculum. They are, and then you read Marx, and you read Engels, you read Hitler, and you read Stalin, and you read Black Lives Matter, and you know one of their main goals is to get your kid at about 2 or 3. They can do it when they get them at 4 or 5. But when they get them at 2 or 3, man, they can take them right away from you. And that's exactly what they want to do. They want to take them away from you. They want to make your child a creature of the state, not of your family. That's why they get away with things in some of these Democratic states, which Biden agrees with completely, which is to, chop their generals off and not tell you. Not you, the parent. You don't have to. You shouldn't know about it because the kid doesn't belong to you. The kid belongs to the state, to the Biden regime in this case, because the kid doesn't belong to the USA. The USA would never, ever countenance anything like that. The USA, if it thought we had people doing that, would execute them, I think. It's a shame. So, in this article by Carol Markowitz, she makes a reference to something I want you to know about because, I don't know, I'm getting a little annoyed from my friend Ted. Right down here, she points to one of the great examples of just how vapid, how poorly educated. I don't have any more words how stupid these young people are who claim they're smart. But probably there was one video that captured it over the last 3 or 4 weeks more than any other. And it has at least 4 million official views. We think it's more like about 35 million. But people steal it. It was done by Ted right here, Ted Goodman. And it was done about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and you first saw it on America's Mayor Live. But nobody's going to tell you that because they don't want you to know about America's Mayor Live. Because if you know about America's Mayor Live, you're going to find out what's really going on in America. Because even the Foxes and the Newsmaxes hide stuff from you. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you don't know that Hunter Biden was partners with Whitey Bulger's nephew, do you? No, they'll never tell you that on Newsmax or Fox, right? I go on 100 of those. But I want you to watch this. So, Ted, help us with this exactly. This is before Columbia real. Is this the day before we went to Columbia, Ted?
That's right, Mayor. This was just
right
before.
And Columbia blew the next day, really.
Yes.
So this is about 2 days before it really got bad. This was at NYU.
That's
and
right.
NYU did something smart when the people got arrested. They put up barriers so they couldn't come back and do, Gaza USA or whatever.
Yeah.
But so this was a Sunday night. Well, I'm not sure what night it was, but you tell us.
That's right. It was a weeknight, I believe. We'll get the date here. In any event, here is we'll play the video and then we'll give you some more.
Yeah, you'll know. You're going to know this video.
You'll
You've seen it
recognize the video. You've probably seen it. You may have seen it
without any attribution to Ted or
That's right.
anything.
Goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
Back. Yeah.
How stupid they are. They're there at a demonstration, which was I don't know. Was that a violent demonstration, Ted? It was close to it, right?
Yeah, it was close to it.
I don't think it got violent, but it kind of got.
Yeah.
I know. I started getting nervous for you. You had Mike with you, right?
Oh, I had Mike. You know we were just fine when I had Mike.
Oh, if you had Mike with you,
take Mike.
Mike could take him all on. I mean, and
Just ask him. He'll tell you.
The NYU wussies, if you know, I mean, the little Twinkies at NYU, I wouldn't want to put them up against Mike. But in any event, it wasn't like it got a couple of days later, but it was starting. You could begin to see the violence was coming. So these two kids are there. She said she was from Fordham. I assume the other girl was from Fordham, but I'm not sure. And you talk to them, and now they've become kind of like stars.
Yeah, I wonder how they feel.
So today we're in Florida, and we're doing a video with some people that are knowledgeable about all of this, et cetera. And we said that actually even on the train, the people knew it.
Yeah.
We asked him, have you seen this thing? Oh yeah, you mean the girl and the one that says she's not educated enough? The one who got more attention. I thought that thing, I knew it was going to go viral.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to go viral because of the first girl who looked so innocent and then so vapid.
Yeah.
But it's the second one that really blew it. When she said she's got to educate herself. What the hell is she doing in school?
Right?
Fordham. I was happy to hear it was Fordham. I went to Manhattan College, so
Rival.
Oh man, Fordham.
Fordham has. Look, Manhattan College may have the greatest mayor ever. May lay claim to the greatest mayor ever, but Fordham has the greatest football coach ever. I think we may both agree on that.
So who's more important to people, a football coach or a mayor?
Okay.
Or a police commissioner? How many lives did Lombardi save?
Well, ask the folks at Green Bay, but
Hey, Vince, how many lives did you save, babes? You're a good guy. I love you. I love you. You're Italian. How can I not love you? We also had Ray Kelly. So.
Oh, he's Manhattan College.
He saved a lot of lives too. Put us together and against Vince. I think we win. But in any event, we were always a much better school. They got a lot more attention, but we were quiet and stuck to very, very strict education. The liberal arts education was a very strict Western civilization education in which I took four years of philosophy, 4 years of history, 4 years of art, and 4 years of literature, all sequenced historically through Western civilization, starting with the beginning of the world right up to the modern day. And it was fabulous education. And if stressful things happened, we didn't put it, like when John Kennedy was killed, the school was in a terrible, but somehow it didn't seem to me everybody got a passing grade that week or the next week, or because it was near exams. But they didn't call off exams because everybody was shook up, like the Twinkies at Columbia, little twinks.
How about 2016 election? Some schools.
2016 election was absurd.
Some people had to take off school. They had to have safe spaces. The first time I heard the term safe space.
Can you imagine I went to my father and said, Dad, I'm not going to school today because they just elected so-and-so president and I can't take it. I don't want to tell you what happened. I would have taken it because what my father would have done would have been a lot tougher. You know about irrevocably affected by it? My father would have made sure I was irrevocably affected. And you know, that's the thing there I want to write down and send every time they apply for a job to a law firm or something. I mean, I got to take them at their word. Irrevocably means forever. Now, I don't expect that the Columbia Law Review, which really was always a second-rate law review anyway, I never would expect that the NYU is much better. Again, Columbia gets the, but NYU much better. NYU is much smarter in the way they handle this too, maybe because they don't have a terrorist-loving president. The minute the cops took out the 200 or so, right? First thing they did is they came in and they built barriers. So you couldn't put together any kind of sequential group of tents or, so you didn't see it. I mean, you would have had, NYU would have been just as bad as Columbia, maybe worse. I'm not saying the students there are any better. I'm just saying they were a hell of a lot smarter in the way they handled it because they didn't have Minushi Patushi there who really should go to hell back to the Middle East and take care of whatever relatives there are of the people who killed us on September 11, who she was so worried about. That's where she belongs, not in America. And what the hell they're hanging on to her for, I don't know. But you know the big donors here. We know about Soros, right? We know about the Rockefellers. But they've been like that for years. You make all the money in America, then you hate it. I don't get it, but okay. But now we got Goldman Sachs with 12 million for these animals. 12 million for a group of Jew haters. It used to be a Jewish firm. Man. I mean, it is a Democratic firm. Left wing, left wing, left wing, left, left wing. But I never knew they were Jew haters. Well, they put $12 million behind their Jew hating. So the way it was covered here by Carol, which I wish would have given Ted some credit for this. I hate it when, I try when I read these things like from the Post or the Wall Street Journal or New Epic Times. I don't read from communist papers like the Times and stuff like that. But if I do, I tell you. So I'm reading now from Carol's article in today's Post. In a viral video last month, 2 students at New York University, the war in Gaza were unable to explain what specifically they wanted NYU to do. In a viral video last month, 2 students at New York University protesting the war in Gaza weren't able to explain what specifically they wanted NYU to do. I wish I was more educated, side one. We all do. I wish you had said that was gotten by Ted. And not you.
We're going to ask Carol to credit us. I didn't realize that was from today.
That's today.
Yeah, we'll ask her, and I bet you she'll add that American marijuana.
I mean, I have no. She probably saw this somewhere else that didn't credit it to you either. But I mean, the reality is, I'm going to tell you why this is important. You were the first one to get that.
Of course.
You broke that open, and immediately it blew their credibility. Just blew it. I mean, it is so ridiculous. I wish I was more educated. They're there protesting. And honestly, she gives them even a little more credit than they deserve. They were unable to explain what specifically they wanted NYU to do. They weren't able to explain specifically, not specifically, generally, partially, impartially. They didn't know what the hell they wanted. They were there because there was a protest. Oh, a protest. We can go to a protest. Or maybe well, I don't know. Who knows why they're there? If they don't know why they're there, they shouldn't be at a protest, don't you think? Hey, Fordham, good job, huh? Jesuits, good job there. Yeah. Hope would probably be proud of you. Yeah.
Argentina.
From don't cry for me, Argentina. You better cry for me, Argentina. So Miranda Devine has a great column. Now we want to talk about a great reporter, but we'll have to take a break. I am being warned by everyone around, which are not too many people, but enough, that I have to take a break. Notice it got all black behind me. Well, we'll be back very shortly.
Is something that you can plug into your television, and now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
Subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right, you can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it and I use it, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's just exactly the same except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code RUDY to receive $30 off.
In your back.
Well, I think you should get QUX.TV, Rudy. Think you're going to find, it's really helping me, I'll tell you, because I can't get Newsmax all over. So if I have it, I can get Newsmax. So, and I travel, as you see, so I can get it all over with QUX. And I can't get One America's News all over. In other words, the censorship, the Biden censorship, works pretty effectively, which is what I'm trying to combat by building up our audience. So you please tell people to listen to us, because they're going to find out stuff. I wonder if the New York Times is even going to cover that Biden has cut off Israel. It was only a little piece in the Post. Should have been the headline, I think. That's a hell of a thing. Cut no arms to Israel. So you want a surprise? We're going to give you a surprise. I bet you're not going to believe this. Ted and I know this because we talked to them, and he made a good point about graduation that we're going to make in a minute. But this is a reason why we should make this good point about graduation. There's been a major swing among young people. And you're going to think the major swing among young people is for Biden. Right now, among young people, which includes Gen Zers, Trump leads Biden among men by 12 points. Because most men aren't Twinkies. And they look at Biden and say, I would never want to be like that. Trump, I don't know. Maybe I'd like to talk better or be, I don't know, tweet better or whatever. But it's not a bad guy. Wouldn't mind playing golf like him. Then, now you're going to really go nuts when I tell you this. You know what Biden's lead among young women is? 3%. That ain't no lead. That's a statistical tie. He's getting killed by young people. Young people are looking at him and saying, geez, he belongs in a casket. Look at him. And I think they're starting to realize that he's destroying the future for them. He's destroying the future. They can't graduate. They couldn't graduate because of the pandemic. Now they can't graduate because of this. Columbia has canceled its graduation. Why did it cancel its graduation? What the hell are they afraid of? I'm afraid that Goldman Sachs and Soros put money in to disrupt it. So put some money in not to disrupt it. You're worth a fortune. Every time the government gives you more money, you just charge the parents more money. I mean, you're a con operation. I really do believe that the Ivy League schools have become con operations. They claim to be high-level schools. They actually don't teach you a damn thing. I mean, it's too bad those kids were from Fordham. I mean, the ones from Columbia be no better either. I mean, the ones that are yelling to stop occupying Gaza when Gaza hasn't been occupied in a generation. I bet if we took out a map, half of them wouldn't know where Gaza was. I bet. Right? Which is why maybe they shouldn't be graduating at all. Maybe there should be no graduation at all because they don't know anything. Cancel graduation like no degree.
Mayor will give them all a history lesson and geography lesson.
Yeah, 2 years of remedial. They should both be given a 2-year remedial education at a good Catholic school. That would be the thing to do. If there are some good Catholic schools left, I don't know.
Is Columbia? What's Columbia's religious affiliation?
A virulent atheist, God-hating, moral hating atheist. I don't know, maybe satanic. I'm not sure. So it's 44-41 women for Biden, but 54-43 men for Biden. Young men, young. And there are 1 million fewer men in college than in 2011 because men don't think college is worth it anymore. How do you like that? You know something? They're right. They're right. It doesn't teach you anything useful. I mean, there are Hillsdale, and we could probably. I hate to. I mean, if I'm going to do a list, I should be careful and do a good list. There are good colleges, but
maybe you can recommend. We can put a list of 20.
But a lot of them are really just complete con jobs, money-making con jobs, and the idea that they're not for profit is ridiculous. They all should pay taxes. They're big money-making operations. The presidents make millions. The presidents of colleges make what the CEOs of companies used to make.
And now, Mayor, they all have these big bloated staffs, and they got their
staffs.
Their staffs have staff.
There are no teachers in New York City. They're just bureaucrats. We hire
equity officer.
We hire bureaucrats to hire bureaucrats to take care of the bureaucrats, to watch the other bureaucrats who are watching the bureaucrats.
Someone's doing the work.
Nobody teaches. So, do you think that Biden is a miserable freaking creep? I do, because imagine what he did to these Border Patrol guys who he said were whipping people. Well, of course, it's been proven they didn't, right? It ruined it could have ruined their lives. But one of them just got an award as the best Border Patrol agent of the year. One of the guys who allegedly whipped somebody that he didn't, that Mayorkas, who should have been impeached, and Biden, who should have been impeached, attacked. But of course, neither Biden nor Mayorkas has apologized because they're not men. Decent men apologize. Decent women apologize. Indecent, horrible people that make up this administration do not apologize because they're not good people. That's the problem. You know, we used to have Republicans and Democrats, and they were good people on both sides. This time, we got a group of really bad people. The first family is beyond description as a group of criminals and, to some extent, complete perverts. So there's a hotel in Manhattan that I don't know called the Square Hotel. It's right in the middle of the theater district. It's on 50th Street, 8th and 50th, which is where you'd want to stay if you were going to go to Broadway or enjoy that area of New York and pay a nice price for it. Except they can make more with the Adams no bid, give out as much cash as you can so you create room for kickbacks program. So this is why Adams loves all these people coming in. What was that? Oh, illegal aliens. Yeah. So they're going to get rid of the people who want to watch Broadway plays, and they're going to bring the illegal aliens in who we don't vet. We don't know. I mean, these guys could have just come out of an insane asylum. But we're going to take them because big money. And Adams doesn't have a bidding program. You don't get to check it. So people say, well, Mayor, how can you say New York is crooked? I don't need to do anything more than the following. The budget of New York is equal to the budget of Florida. New York City. Florida has 8 million. Does it have 10 million more people? Could be 10 million more people. And they spend the same amount of money as New York City. Now, how about we try the following? Because New York City gets the benefit of lots of money spent by the state. The state of Florida doesn't get the benefit of money spent by anybody, right? So the budget of the state of New York with Crooked Hochul is double Florida, even though Florida has 2 million more people. So why are we spending so much more money? Why? Oh, yeah, we're incompetent and we're lazy and we got crazy unions and all that other stuff. That doesn't explain most of it. Because we're crooked. And we've been crooked for 150 years. And that's why we spend more money. And it's hard to cut it all out. I cut a lot of it out, but I didn't cut it all out. Couldn't find it all. But I never had a budget that went up beyond the rate of inflation. I cut the city by numbers that nobody ever did before on their own. And I created surpluses. So I was on my way. But wow, it's right back. Adams has been a disaster. These no-bid contracts are like mail-in voting. What mail-in voting is to voter fraud, no-bid contracts is to crooked Democratic politicians. You see a no-bid contract, and we're talking about multi-millions. If you made the assumption it was crooked and used that as the basis for an investigation, you'd probably come out right about 3 out of 4 times. At least that's what I would do as a U.S. attorney and did like with the highway contractors when I went after them. I can give you plenty of examples like that. But New York City and state could be the most crooked in the country. Now, I wouldn't back off I would back off if you showed me Illinois and Chicago or California and LA and San Francisco or Atlanta and Governor Kemp. If you showed me that, I don't know. I think New York is probably right in there. We've been doing it longer and we're probably better at it. And we protect that Democrat crooked machine of judges. You hear Democrat judge in New York and it's somewhere in the environs of New York City. You're not talking about a judge. So remember, Square Hotel, right in the middle of Broadway, going to be filled with people from all over the world and we don't know who they are. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Probably the Mexican cartels know who they are because they're the ones who check them out. Their references come from the Sinaloa cartel. So Trump likened President Biden's administration to the Nazi Gestapo during a donor retreat Saturday, and everybody's apologizing for it. He's not so far off. They don't, okay, if you say, we're not saying that they killed 6 million Jews or did things like that, but do they conduct trials like the Nazis did? Absolutely. There's not much difference between Mershon's trial or Engelmoron's trial and a German judge during the Nazi era. Biden rules by dictate. Came in, he did 50 dictates when he came into office, 100. Did away with everything Trump did by dictate. Dictators governed by dictate. Democratic rule is governed by laws. When he shows up at old people's homes who were protesting abortion, Garland, who's got a thing with abortion, I mean, he's like mad on abortion. He's sick on abortion. Sends people with machine guns. Machine guns for Roger Stone. That's not Gestapo-like tactics. That's not SS-like tactics. Damn right it is. Damn right it is. When you go take my my iCloud the day that I begin representing Trump and keep it for 3 years and don't tell me, I don't know. That's not Gestapo-like tactics. What would you like to call it? Communist-like tactics? We should find something milder. I wouldn't apologize if I were Trump. I mean, this is early. Maybe this isn't Hitler in the 40s, but this sure looks a lot like the 30s. And the Jew hatred, massive, massive. Have we ever had this before under any other president? Have we ever had this kind of hatred of Jewish people, at least manifested under any other president? Maybe Roosevelt, when he wouldn't take Jewish ships. Another Democrat. And a lot of them vote Democrat. That's got to change. It's going to change. Absolutely going to change. I'll tell you that as somebody who got elected because of the Jewish vote. It's going to change. They've gone too far. You don't think Trudeau looks like Castro? I think Castro would be embarrassed of him, to tell you the truth. Now, there's a snowflake, Trudeau. Castro, horrible guy. I mean, there's a Hitler-type guy, Castro, right? So I'm not, but Castro was like a guy. Trudeau.
Remember, don't forget, he dressed up in either blackface or Indian.
Is it Trudeau?
Yeah, Trudeau, right? These guys are. Yeah. So he's not. Again, but we're not even the ones that
probably dressed up in blackface because he really seems like he's dumb as hell.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, I know his
name, right?
I know he's left wing and all this other stuff, and his father was like a big dealer. I don't remember if his father was smart or not, because they make these people appear to be smart, but every time you listen to Trudeau, he sounds like a dumb cock.
That accent, they try to pretend, the accent's supposed to come off as smarter, I think.
So if I were Castro, I'd be embarrassed of him. He's a snowflake and he's done.
Just Trudeau. Yeah.
So Trump is getting ready. Sounds like this is just right up his alley. He's getting ready for the biggest deportation ever. And he even has figured out who he has to beat to set the record. Eisenhower. Eisenhower in 1954, in something called Operation Wetback, deported 1 million people in 1 year. So he's got about 8 to 12 to keep us safe, to get rid of the people. And I think we should get rid of the people who we don't know who they are. I'm sorry. I just don't want people here, and we don't know who they are. We're going to start a whole new education program. Goes like this. No one but a citizen has a right to be here. If you come from a foreign country, you have no right to be in the United States. None. You are here as a privilege. And you better act that way. And you better show respect for this country. And if you don't, we don't let you in. And if you are in and you don't, we throw you out. Because we got enough problems here of our own. We don't need to be bringing them in from your damn country that may be more screwed up than ours. And we have a necessity to protect our own citizens, not the world. World comes next. It's like when they tell you, to help everybody on the plane, you got to put the mask on first. Help everybody in the world, we got to put the mask on first. And right now, Biden has taken the mask away. We got to put the mask on first. We got to make America safe and solid and rich. The most powerful military in the world. so powerful that anybody that thinks of messing with us pees in their pants. Big time. And if you do that, you're going to do what Ronald Reagan did. You can become a great liberator without firing a shot. What a miraculous thing Reagan did. I mean, Roosevelt was a liberator, but we lost hundreds of thousands of people. Even Lincoln. Lincoln was a liberator. We lost more people than ever before. And I'm not saying that Reagan was better than them, or I do think equal. But he did it. He was ready to fire a shot. And they knew it. He wasn't a loyal-living coward like the little creature we have in the White House now. But he didn't have to. And that's how you keep a world safe when you have evil people in this world. Now, when you have evil people in the White House guiding this country, it becomes very, very complicated to keep this country safe. Because what you need at the top are good people. The more talented they are, the better. The more enlightened their ideas, the better. But they have to be good, decent people. And one way to look at it is look at their children. I mean, look at the Biden family. Really? Do you want to look at the Biden family? You don't, do you? Well, look at the Trump family. I mean, I know him personally, so I can. One is perfect, and the difference is the one is evil, and the other isn't. I mean, this is as bad as it gets. So, biggest deportation, 1 million. When do you think Trump passes that? March, April, May? It could be tough. I told him, and I'll tell you, it will not be as tough as you think stopping it. He did it before. It'll be a little harder now because, you got to go back and you got to rejuvenate a lot of stuff. But all the pieces are in place and the actors are ready. I mean, boy, that Border Patrol will run miles, thousands of miles for him. They get a president who backs them. I know that with the police department. I was able to reduce crime just based on morale, taking over for Dinkins. How many now if they took over the police department for Adams? Based on morale, they would. The same thing is true here with the Border Patrol. I mean, no one probably disrespects or despises or realizes what an evil president we have more than the Border Patrol. They get a decent president, boy, they'll put out for you so hard. They won't let anybody in. Difficulty is we got a lot of people here. So we got to find them. And we got to deport them. And you got all these left-wing kooky wookies around who are going to go raise millions and millions and millions to fight in court and to do this and to do that so that they can keep the momentum going toward us being communist. Because they're going to start losing momentum because we're going to try to pull it back from being communist. We're going to try to take it away from Klaus Schwab. And the guy who gives money to the terrorists, big money in cash. What's his name? I've forgotten. Oh, Barry Obama. Yeah, we're going to take things away from him. Maybe we'll even take a look at as the statute of limitations run on Barry Obama paying off terrorists, or maybe he's done it more recently. He obviously has some kind of love affair with the Ayatollah. You don't give a guy cash in that amount. There's not some kind of love affair going on. And he's got Biden doing the same damn thing. So the deportation is going to be tough, but he's up to it, up for it. And I'm glad to see they're looking for historical analogies like Operation Wetback and Eisenhower. And I can't resist it. Christy Nome has raised the issue. How come Biden's dogs have attacked 24 Secret Service agents? Well, now I'm not going to get into we already have talked about the Christy Nome case, okay? But that is interesting. I mean, dogs are dogs. They follow their masters. You think he trains them to attack the Secret Service? That's a lot of Secret Service agents to attack. So 8 years I was mayor and I had a dog. Name was Goalie. He never attacked a policeman. Ever. He loved the policeman. You think it's the hatred that Biden has for the police and law enforcement? That's part of it that is conveyed to the poor dog, and the dog starts attacking them, thinking they're the enemies. You know, Biden was a big supporter of the Kill the Police, Black Lives Matter, and Biden's biggest financial supporter is a big supporter of the Kill the Police, Black Lives Matter, and Biden, and that's Soros. So maybe these dogs have picked up this hatred for law enforcement. But that's a lot of attacks. If any of you have, I bet none of you have a dog that's attacked anything or anyone 24 times. And Secret Service agents, I mean, how much damage they've done to the Secret Service. You would not know, they cover it up, right? Secret Service agents, Secret Service has done a lot of covering up for Biden, like when they went out and tried to get the records on Hunter when he illegally purchased a .32 revolver when he was stoned or whatever you call it, you know, gone on drugs, driving cars, smoking crack. They tried to cover it up. I mean, that guy could have killed children. And they covered up his child pornography. So I don't know if everything's kosher with the Secret Service either, but I sure as hell wouldn't take 24 of my agents being bitten by his damn dog if I were head of the place. Sorry. We're going to do something about this, you pervert. Well, you want to talk about dogs? Let's talk about the 24 Secret Service agents bitten. It's really awful having a pervert like that in the White House, isn't it?
Wow.
So, the war in Gaza is now at a point where the Hamas has said that it's ready for a ceasefire. Well, of course they're ready for the ceasefire. They're getting the head kicked out of them. Qatar agrees. Egypt agrees. Of course, Biden agrees, which tells me Israel shouldn't agree because they're all on the other side. And what Bibi should do is exactly what Bibi decided to do a long time ago. He should wipe out Hamas for our good, for the good of America. Now, the President of the United States is not able to tell you the good of America because he's compromised. I mean, I know directly how he's compromised with the Chinese. I really don't get exactly his Islamic terrorists being compromised, but it's just as bad. Maybe it comes through the fact that he doesn't make decisions. Barry does. And Barry is compromised as an Islamic extremist. But in any event, you know, obviously, Bibi, you can't make judgments for the good of the American people. It's not your right. But it isn't his right to make judgments for the good of the Israeli people. And he's the last person in the world to do it because he sure tolerates a hell of a lot of Jew hating if he doesn't foment it. I'm talking about Biden. So you got him in Rafah. You've given him more warnings than anybody has ever gotten in a war, ever. More warnings than we've ever given, more warnings than they don't give any warnings. They actually just kill civilians. So go do it. Get it over with. At least wipe out Hamas in Gaza. You're not going to wipe out Hamas completely. Biden is protecting them in Qatar and other places. You're still going to have to deal with Hamas, but be nice to deal with them like with their troops pretty much gone. Save a lot more of your people that way. Make things a lot easier for us if we ever get a government back. Because they want to kill us too. Please remember that. I mean, it's a terrible. We don't remember that they want to kill. They want to kill us, do we? So I want to remind everybody to go to mypillows.com/Rudy, and I want you to get pillows, and I want you to get robes, and I want you to get Mother's Day stuff. I think you can still get it on time. Or maybe some of those wonderful, beautiful, you get 20 of those pillows with the original American flag, other symbolic things, and can make you sort of feel better when you listen to these things like Biden stops sending arms to Israel, or Biden sends 60 billion to Ukraine but refuses to have an inspector general for the money. Why not just tell us you're going to steal it? Why don't you just say, I'm sending 60 billion there and we're going to steal it? And well, that'll be a little money for the people. The usual amount they get, which is why they're so poor, starving, and losing a war. Or like we do to the black people in those places that are Democrat controlled. We keep them rotten for 50 or 60 years. We put billions in and we steal it. We do exactly the same thing in Ukraine because we're crooked Democrats. And we get away with it because the press goes nice on our heads and goes along with it for reasons that I would take too long to explain right now, but we will over the course of time explain their perversity and their Marxism. I mean, it comes out of the same place, education, right? This education system that we see has really, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. This is one time, sometimes I tell you when I looked at when I looked how bad the deep state was, I was shocked. I never thought it was that bad. I remember telling President Trump when he was President-elect Trump, things are really bad, much worse than you think, because he was talking then about the deep state. And I said, it's much worse than you think, acting like really, I was in the government. I know more about this than you do. Well, it was much worse than he thought. It was much worse than I thought. I mean, I am completely shocked at how bad it was. Not anymore, but a few years ago. I am not shocked at all at how bad the universities are. Not one bit. In fact, I think they're worse than you've seen yet. This is the area that they penetrated earliest and best. They were penetrating this in the 1920s with communists, both the Russians and the Chinese. And they've turned an awful lot of people into communists who know they're communists, and some who don't know they're communists. And it's brilliant the way they did it. Highly disciplined, much more disciplined than anything we seem to be able to carry out. And we're going to have to learn that discipline, and we're going to have to reverse it. And I think I feel a few steps in that direction. I wouldn't say a surge yet. I wouldn't say anything that I'm going to go have a party about. But really loved that poll of young people. Loved it. And I love that poll of young men because I know something about masculinity. And we've been destroying masculinity. Now we need masculinity to defend ourselves. Now, please, ladies, don't get upset. But it's men who go and fight and die for us. Women can help, but all throughout the history of the world, it's going to be really hard to change that, 5,000 years of genes in a generation or two. The people who fight, die, and kill are basically men. You know, the murder rate, 90% of men. So there's bad killing and there's necessary killing. Who's going to do the necessary killing better? And who's going to have to do it if you want to keep our democracy? This isn't for free. If it's for free, you give it away. And we're giving it away. We gave it away under these horrible people. We're going to have to win it back, and we're going to have to become strong, and we're going to have to militarize again. And we're going to make them convinced that we're not afraid. We're not afraid of them. We're not afraid of anybody. And that's a masculine virtue. I mean that women don't have it. It doesn't mean that a lot of women can't be part of it. But if you want to make a distinction between, where does it emerge from the history of our species, and and other things emerge from other parts of our species, that's where it emerges from. So when you start making men into twinks, sorry, you're not able to defend yourself. Twinks don't defend you. So I'm really glad to see how young men are waking up to what's being done to them. And maybe they could start now coming to the aid of young women who are being completely destroyed by this insanity of males competing in female sports. This is pure insanity. It's sickness. It's intended to pervert our society. The NCAA goes along with this, then shame on you if you watch anything that they present or do, if they continue it. Let's just completely wipe them out. No NCAA, sorry. We're not going to watch you until you have men in men's sports and women in women's sports, and you stop getting women hurt by having men compete with them. What the hell is wrong with you? And where are the feminists? Dirty freaking liars. All you exist for is to demasculize. That's what you exist for. You don't exist to support women. You exist to try to destroy men. And you came pretty close to doing it, pals. But boy, you went one step too far, like you damn perverts always do. So I think they may have gone too far with this men participating in women's sports and chopping the genitals of kids. If they haven't gone too far, we're finished. So we're going to take up that tomorrow and plenty of other things. And we're going to see what happens with this Hamas ceasefire if Bibi finally does away with Hamas. And let's see if these schools all cave in and do away with their graduations, or some of them have the guts to go ahead with them and say, screw you. So please pray for the people of Israel. Please pray for the people of the United States. And God bless America. Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people. not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God